Okay, welcome to the hot seat, first hot seat of the year. Hopefully everybody is okay. Just I see Yelena, she's typing something here. It's new girls. It's very good to see you here. So yes, I think okay, perfect. Okay, excellent. So welcome again to the hot seat. Today we're gonna talk about goal setting, a very, very important topic here. Okay. So why did I want to keep that for today? Because obviously, as you know, as many of you know, there is going to be a new program, kind of like the sequel of the Second Chance, starting this month, in this few months, probably it's going to be January. But again, I see still a lot of people setting goals, a lot of external goals, goals such as, losing some weight, goals such as, getting to a more specific percentage. And every time we set up these kind of goals, as I got deep, into the revelation that I saw with helping over 400 women, in the past year alone, I see that there is a lot of people that get to the goals, or the people that get to the goals, they usually get to the goal as a result of changing the lifestyle, not so much of, getting a goal and hitting the goal. And why is it important for you to understand the differences between, setting goal externally, which is basically losing some fat, going to a lower fat percentage, and internally, who is the person that I should to show up every day to actually become that person? Why there is a big, huge discrepancy is because obviously there is external, like things that we can control, meaning like, based on the strategy we use, based on the coach we get, based on, life in general, based on things happening or not happening. And then there is internal, okay, that we can somehow control, but we're very, they messes with us all the time. Okay, it's this kind of traits or things that happens, within us is the one that is going to make us complete things that we have to complete on a daily basis. Not about hitting your macro one day or 1 week. It's about doing that over time. And usually there is a higher correlation with you finding traction on everything. So kind of like if you like it to do it, if you're able to do it, if you're able to get better. So like as you get better on these things, then you're able to get closer and closer to the identity you need to build. Okay. Now, one thing I really made a realization of in the past year that, compared to what I was doing before, which is basically was, training people one-to-one or training people to group, but, having a real live interaction versus having, this kind of approach online. And again, I say this kind of approach because it's very original, it's very new, it's very particularly driven to the fact that there is a high component of motivation and psychology into this thing. And basically the realization that I came with, we've seen a lot of people, and also, obviously speaking with all of you, people tell me that if you, and I realized if you set up external goal, usually you will not achieve it, right? Or if you achieve it, you're not going to be fulfilled when you get there. In other words, if you lose a few kilo, and it's all about losing a few kilo, then you get there, and you always have this question and asking yourself, what's next now? Like usually you would say, and I have this experience with a bunch of you as well, you go from 5 kilo, you lose 5 kilo, you want to lose 5, you think you're going to be happy. You get to 5 and you now want to lose another 5 or another 2. This is human psychology. This is kind of like people not really being happy fully all the time, right? And why is not because there is a magic number between the kilo. It's because like the goals you set up yourself for, usually they're very external. They're very driven to the things that you need to do to get there. And a good part of people will get there no matter what, doing whatever it takes, doing hours of cardio, eating less, restricting themselves from food. The other people, and this is usually the people that don't enjoy it. When you get there, you kind of like hate your life. Like if you've seen, none of you have probably tried anything like bodybuilding before, but if you see bodybuilders, when they get to stage, they're very unhappy. Like they're happy for the results, but they're very unhappy the way that they got there, especially if they had to diet for like really diet, not like the diet we do here, like real hardcore, cardio every day kind of thing, eating, low carbohydrates for a while. And again, that means that you're getting there, but you're kind of like hating your life, right? And that's very external because you get a goal that is very external. That as we analyze things in general, we study always versus studying human. We always study the major study come from animals, right? They study on mice, they study on other things, they study to the primate, which is obviously what is the closest to the human, at least most of people believe. And the only thing that, you know, it really differentiates us to any other species, which is basically the closest, of course, would be animal, is the conscience we have. Okay, and the conscience is that link, that missing link that allow yourself to make two differentiation. One, you know, is the body. Like Georgia, I see Georgia here, and she did, in the seminar she described the body being a vessel, being a best friend. You know, we're made of flesh, we're made of organs, and then of course there is everything else. There is like how we feel, you know, what we feel inside, right? We go to sleep every single day, right? Then we wake up. That time you sleep, you're not even aware of what's happening, right? And then we're very scared of death. But every day you go to sleep, you almost feel like there is nothing going on, right? And then you wake up, and then you're scared of many things. You kind of like you're scared of many things, and then like as you have all these thoughts, like I'm not gonna be able to do that. I'm gonna find this obstacle. I'm gonna find I have no time. I don't have this. So if you keep putting all these thoughts together, those are the thoughts that make you have the ability to get to the next level or not when it comes to body, right? But when it comes to eating goals, when it comes to actually hitting the goals or not hitting the goals. And so therefore, like instead of putting external goal all the time, in 2019, I would love you to kind of like start you really thinking about putting internal goals. You know, I'm going to tell you why is it important. I'm going to tell you why do I feel like everybody should do that. I'm going to tell, you know, why, you know, it's necessary for that kind of like that the next step, you know, once you go from program to program. But I also going to tell you, because if you don't do that, right, like you're always going to be either not fully fulfilled, or if you are going to be fulfilled, you're probably not going to like the process, or maybe not even getting there, not fully getting there. Okay, so the importance of, you know, setting goals, and you know why I want you to start doing that on 2019, or how, better say how. It comes with this idea that if you saw a sport game, whatever sport you like, you know, I like, for example, hockey, but you can do that with soccer again. If you see in the team sport all the time, you see one person, you know, or one team winning, maybe the referee is going to make you win the game, right? Because they do a few bad calls. And then like let's say that this game is the final. You win the final. Like technically you win the final. But like you have this sense of saying to yourself, I won, but like, I don't know, I felt like it was not on the way I wanted to win. That's a very good analogy when it comes to fitness, because when you say, I want to get to, maybe I'm 35 kilo, I want to get to 30 kilo, doesn't matter anything else. Then you get to 30 kilo and you look kind of the same. The body fat didn't change, right? And then like you kind of saying to yourself, you see, I did all this work for kind of like nothing. It doesn't make me feel fully okay. So you want next. So if you keep asking yourself what's next, you're always going to find yourself struggling within to find external goals. When you find the external goals, then, you know, you're not fully happy on the process you're getting there, if it makes any sense. So what we need to start doing here is acquire the traits of the person that is going to be looking like that. So in other words, we all have people we idolize, you know, whether or not is you idolizing a specific person, whether or not is you idolizing a celebrity, whether or not is idolizing you, how you were in the past, maybe an athlete, maybe somebody that was with certain traits that you lost, or a blend of that. You know, it could be even, and again, what the work that you need to be doing, that you need to start doing as we breach everything up, because then we're going to talk about really specific things in terms of, you know, body composition and everything. But before, if you don't put the close the gap from the person you are here and the person you want to become, right, or the information part, you always like in this, you're staying with this no man's land all the time. Okay, and again, the best way to do it, if you set an external goal, and I'm gonna draw it down here. If you're here, if you set an external goal, I want now to be 20%, I want to be 18%, I'm gonna use 20%, and you kind of like see yourself, you are there, like you wanna go, like you're here, and you go into this external goal here. This is very external, right? So you're going to very external, and then you're gonna find a bunch of obstacles in between. This is obstacle you should overcome all the time, hitting the calories, doing your workouts. This is all very external. It's like, I'm going to do something to get there, right? And it doesn't, I don't want you to learn everything you apply to here, in this program, everything you learn, it's not like the right way you should see it, things, because I know that you saw this kind of drawing more than once. But again, this is very external. You say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. If something comes up, like, you're not gonna do it, or you're gonna do it only partially, right? Instead, what I like you to, when I kind of like want to see the 2.0 version, and it's not, again, it's not the second chance is 1.0, the other program is 2.0. 20 weeks or 30 weeks is a time frame that people do something. I built you up as a person, getting you to hit a bunch of routines, getting you to hit a bunch of habits, right? If you do that, or better say, if you do only 75% of what we say, you're going to get a goal as a result. But as you go through this path, you're getting, and I still see a lot of my scale doesn't reflect, this doesn't reflect, this doesn't match according to that. I'm still running on motivation. So that 2.0 kind of like version of yourself has to be, if you are here, there is traits that this person of 20% wants to have, right? On top of that, there should be some arrows, and you can see two, three, circles here. And these things should be people. You either people I'm explaining you how you're gonna get there, like internally. People you idolize, people you look up to. People like, when everybody they want 20%, they want 20% for something. They want to be having abdominals because they saw somebody, or that you were like that, right? So in other words, you need to hardwire yourself to think, let's say that this is a celebrity, this is, I don't know, let's say you choose somebody, right, that you really idolize, or yourself in the past, and you see, I want to go back to the old Marisa, right? Marisa old, but I want to go back to old Marisa, what she looked like. I want to think now differently, right? This works really well if you say, I want to look like a leader, like a celebrity. For example, let's say I want to be like this athlete, right? So you have to ask you three things, mindset, nutrition, training-wise, what does this person do? Or what this person would say, If you do that with celebrities, it doesn't have to be that what they really think. Meaning, like, if I say, I'm hitting an obstacle today, I don't have time. Like, I'm going to use, for example, a celebrity I idolize that I like a lot. I'm going to use The Rock, right? Everybody knows who he is now. He used not to know. I used to know him way before when he was known for films. But, now he's on film, so everybody knows that. The guy wakes up at 3 a.m. in the morning, something I would not do. I have a very different schedule than him. But, what I would, when I find myself to say, oh, I don't want to work out today, I'm gonna hardwire myself. What are the traits of the person I would like to be similar to, right? And if you get there and you say, it doesn't even have to be like that, like how you see me. I see this, like you asked me multiple times, how do you get to do so many things? How do you get to be up in the night? How do you get to do this? How do you still work out? How do you manage to do, my team knows, how do you manage to do everything you do? And it's like, I asked myself, like, what would these people, I don't know, Tony Robbins, celebrities, athletes, which I look up to, what would they do? It doesn't have to be real what they do. Like, if they would not do that in reality, it doesn't have to be. But in my mind, I need to create this identity that in my mind, they're going to do that. So you create an identity. So you acquire things every single day. You're a blend of everything, or everybody, and you acquire these traits of people, okay? If you acquire that, two things are going to happen. You're going to become really, really good on what you're doing, okay? You're becoming really, really good on creating habits, on doing things that you should be doing, on creating routines, on waking up early, even if you're not used to, or doing things even when you're don't like to do it. So what is the goal? Is because now you're creating a frame around yourself. Now you work internally. So you upgrade yourself to these traits. And what happened next is the fun thing that happens next. It's like you hit the goal easier than you thought, earlier than you thought, but also the 20% is no longer the goal, because that day-by-day process is that you enjoy being there. Now you understood how to twist your lifestyle. Okay, so I introduced that because when we go from, passing from 20 weeks, for some of you it's 30 weeks, for some of you it's already 40 weeks. When you pass this goal and you say, okay, cool, I now set a bunch of goals, right? I go from point A to point B. This is the goal of the second chance. Now I go from point B to point C. I go from point B to whatever that is, even if I didn't hit fully what I want, to now understand that there are going to be stuff such as, body recomposition on a slower term, like you can get to whatever you want to see to yourself in a short term with more sacrifice. You can get in a longer way, a lot longer, with a lot less of sacrifice. But there is going to be stuff such as, spot reduction, meaning like, I want to get really less cellulitis. You know how you host, like, how making this conversation, and when you come in the first week, it will be useless. I think you see why, because it's like, if you haven't even put together a bunch of habits, it's useless now to talk about progressing a routine. It's useless to talk about, putting a periodization together. There are going to be things such as this mentality, like you hear it all the time, but this is why, people need to wait a bit until you understand that this is a lifestyle you like. Mentality is such an investor mentality. Meaning it's like, I need to invest 10 weeks into my metabolism being raised up again, going from, I went to 35% to 20%, 10 weeks to reverse, so you can go to 22%, but you allowed to hit a lot more calories, right? So then you can cut again, and you go from 35 to 20, and now finally you're stuck here. You find a way for you to go from 20 to 10, right? There are other things that, such as, people that are, storing all the fat on the bottom, right? Like the pure body shape, such as water retention, cellulitis, stuff like that. You need to hit your legs in a specific way in the gym, right? With weights, in a way that you really inflame your legs. You're going to see yourself very better on the mirror for about a week, so you can see yourself better in 2 weeks. Now, if you're mentally not there, if you're scared of seeing an extra kilo on the weight, now you're working externally. If you're going to do it no matter what, and you say, okay, yes, I'm going to see myself better, I don't care. I'm going to see myself better in a month, so I can see myself the top shape in the summer. Now you're working with internal goals. I'm going to change no matter what. But how can I get there safely? Only because I like it. Only because you have to love it. If you're still going on this idea, okay, I need to have instant gratification, I need to do that now, I need to do that, as soon as I can, I need to do that, like it's not going to work, because at that point you were working very externally. Okay, this is a very unique roundtable. It's something that you haven't heard before, because it would be useless to do it before a certain point. For that, people need to understand that fitness, unfortunately, the goal that you want, all of you, whatever that is, it's going to be kind of easy to get there, but it's a little bit more difficult to keep it. Okay, and you must love the process. We're working very hard with Georgia, with Hira, with all the coaches that we're going to import in the future, so we find strategies for you to enjoy the process, okay, in a way that you can sustain it. Because again, there are going to be marketing message telling you, you must do what you like. I say you must do 50% what you like and 50% what you need, okay? You are going to be fine until you get to 20%. For most of you, it's going to be enough. For most of you, it's going to be what they love. When you get there, I know you're going to want more, because like you enjoy the process. Then, the weights, you need to hit the weights. How do you hit the weights? Well, right? You need to do it progressively. This is when, programs such as the HES3 method comes in, really understanding, methodologies of unique training, meaning like progressing a routine, volume, intensity, density, like all these exercises, which is really basics. You could go squats, deadlift, shoulder presses, but how not to overtrain your legs, how to get the right amount of salt, how to get enough water but not too much so you get hydrated but not dehydrated or not water retention. And again, all these tricks or methodology come into place when somebody understands, yeah, I'm ready to do a short body recomposition, a long body composition, a reverse diet, whatever the case might be. But ultimately, I'm ready to work on myself because I realize that there is no tricks. There is no magic pills. It's really about, finding something I can stick with, progress it, master it, and get to the next level. Getting to the next level requires you to change your mind, not mindset, but identity, and say, okay, who am I gonna become? What, the next version of me, Elisa or Pilar or Connie or Shanika or Hannah, Marisa, Georgia, everybody here, the next level of myself, not only the body, what she's gonna have as a body, what kind of identity she's gonna build, right? How am I going to become so skilled that I don't need to make this thing, overwhelming, meaning like time-wise, I can still get my schedule together. I can still understand what I have to do around the kitchen, and I can still love the process. If you find the answer to that, you basically, find the most important answer, that it means to actually build a lifestyle long-term. Now, what I'm gonna have you do, because like we kind of like, I wanna say we cover on most of the thing, I really wanted to create this gap between, getting to, who you are today, who you have to become. I wanted you to understand, that it's very, very detailed things you're gonna have to do, whatever program you're in. But also there are things that you need to understand, sometimes investing into time and energy and saying, I'm gonna allow myself to see myself not so good, but that's okay. I'm not gonna doubt it. And I'm gonna understand that it takes what it takes, that's what it takes. If I have, it's always gonna be a portion of genetics, it's always gonna be a portion you can control, which is bigger, which is like exercise, nutrition, habits, resting, recovering, sleeping, take away the stress. Then a small part of genetics, you're gonna do whatever it takes to control the other part. This is what you can do, okay? And you can only do that, when you're somebody. Now, Georgia, for example, she changed a lot, but of course, she was already like not starting on a super bad place. That's the body is gonna react much easier than somebody who needs to lose 20 kilos, for example. But still, like you can still get there. It's about understanding, yeah, I'm gonna be patient, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna be doing that progressively. So ladies, I wanna ask you, what is it that you're taking away from this? I'm gonna open the mics, I'm gonna have you talk. I would like to say, for all of you, like, what hurts, the question about this topic, or where do you feel like you're taking away from this message? Because this is a very important message. One of you, by the way, the other, we have almost like only 8 people here. The people that are going to see the replay of this, you must show up to this roundtable. I made it clear that this was actually an important one. The one that are not here, I want to see all the comments, below. I want to see what you're really taking away. This is not about, if you're not seeing results in yourself, or if you are getting results and you're in vacation or whatever, but when and if you don't, and you stop seeing results, it has to do a lot with you, being very active on this mindset, motivation kicker. Okay, so please come to these roundtables. So anybody wants to talk? We're gonna raise the hand. Anyone want to say anything? Anna. Yes, welcome to the new year.
Hi. Hi, and happy new year, everybody. I think what you wanted to say tonight was that you have to really become the person that you envision yourself to be. You have to change, basically. It's a famous quote that says, "What has got you till here cannot bring you further." So you are till this point where you are just your old self, but obviously you cannot progress from here because you have your old habits, you are your old self, and then from this point on, you have to realize you need to change. You have another purpose, and you cannot go further because you don't have the capacity, you don't have the vision, you don't have the values, and you need to change from this point on. Is this point on when you need to gather everything you have, and you have to look at your vision and to look at yourself, and then you have to say, okay, I need so my goal is to be here, but what do I have to change in myself to transport myself from the point that I am and become this person that I want to be?
Yeah.
So how do I want to change? How can I change? Where do I search for these new skills or this know-how or everything that I need? And then it becomes this process of transforming, and it's not easy. It's a painful process. I felt it myself, so I know it's awful.
Yeah.
But if you are driven hard enough, and if you look at your future self, or maybe that person, star, whatever motivates every one of us, then you find the strength. You have to really, but you really have to do the work, like you always say that, and I love it, to really take the time to stay with yourself and do the reflective job.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are really having these answers in yourself, and you started this journey. And of course it will not be perfect, you will fail, but once you start, then you know what your goal is. You will definitely be there, succeed. So this is what I took. I hope I got it right.
Yeah, it's the in a nutshell, it's like saying, the process is very simple, right? The process of change is very simple. Like, we know it. Like, for most of us, it's really moving more, exercising efficiently, learning awareness around food, staying away from, these kind of like protocols that it doesn't allow you to do anything when what is not necessary. But, it's very, very difficult to change.
Yeah.
Like, how many people now we're starting new year, right? I mean, like, how many people in your life, friends, the people from work, how many can you count that you saw real change in 2019 as a person? Probably not very many, right?
Not many.
Not many. And it's because like people will change a lot of things in their life. Like, they can change. That's what I'm saying. Like, external goal, super easy. You can lose 2 kilo in this month right now, easy. Like, again, is this 2 kilo mean you're any skinnier? No, but like, there is a chance of you getting closer to a result. But again, if you move this mentality about getting in there, right, and then like losing it, and then so I can just do whatever more of what I was doing before, you're not really changing as a person. So acquiring these traits, it means that you have to give up some things. And again, like we talked last roundtable, the law of sacrifice is one law of growth. And it's like, it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice everything in your life, but you must understand what can you sacrifice in your life and still be okay with that, and still be positive, and still enjoy the process. Yeah. So this is what is been necessary for me to understand, at least in this year and a half that we launched online, and say, yeah, I must really become the next step of the person I have to become, so I can actually show them the path. A leader doesn't have to be perfect, but he cannot be.
Yeah.
The real leader is somebody that you can see growth from. Would somebody be perfect, which is nobody's really perfect, but would somebody be like that, then it's not really nothing to learn from, right? So like, in my opinion, all of you showing up today, you are leaders. You're taking time off, like not going to party or something for New Year's, like not staying with your family to be here. Like, I see several people here I can call leaders, like in this year that we still have people growing from this. I see people all the time, for example, like Connie, like Marissa, like Pilar, like yourself, and I saw a big change from you. All of you, Shanika, like she started really hardcore. She's new, but she started here. Elisa, she's on the 30-day almost all by yourself challenge, and like she did like very well. The leader is like a person who walks in the dark, like you realize that you're walking through that. You don't see the end, but you know you're gonna get there because you're gonna keep going. No matter what you do, like you go from asking a lot of questions before, and be very unsure, to now be certain. You're always needing less and less and less, but you know that there is a way, right? And then like you troubleshooting problems all the time. This is traits, and becoming actively that for the other people on the group showing up after that. Like this concept which I talk on the next last video that we said, I like you to be godmothers for the people that comes, later, because like, everybody went through this in the beginning, very difficult concept. And then, you're getting to that level. So, this is traits you need to acquire. Yeah, just find a person or yourself, how you were before, but with a different mentality than how you were before, if it's you, because some of the traits of this mentality got you here, right? Like bad habits, whatever the case was. I saw a big shift on you, Anna. Like I know you did some work with Ira, but that's really a big shift. So that's excellent. I saw Elisa. Were you raising your hand to talk? Yeah, there you are. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. So I guess my takeaway is that, so I've always told myself that I'm a naturally stressed person, and this causes me to hold all my weight in my stomach because the extra cortisol. And I've told so many people this as well. And I think that's just something that I've become part of me. And I feel like my body's kind of synced up with what my brain's always been telling myself, like, oh, I'm naturally stressed. And yesterday I was like, you know what? I need to quit saying that. I can be a more relaxed person. I don't have to hold all my weight there. I think I accepted that. And because I always tell myself that, maybe my body's reacting to what my brain is thinking. And that negative thinking just shows up on my body. So I really need to change my mentality, and then maybe my body will follow.
If you measured yourself, you would probably be the same. But like the perception you have is different. Like this is part of invisible forces that we keep talking about. And before I started a second chance, before I got myself immersed into a bunch of mentors myself, so I can actually learn from, and like not only I was very information driven, meaning like I know we had better information, but I was really, really clinically driven to information. And then I said, there is something missing. I know that most people will not see fitness like I see it. And then what's going to happen is they're not just simply going to apply. They're going to apply very short term, and they're not going to see result. So we learn a lot, with the work that we did with a bunch of people, so we can now take these things. And, these are the things that actually matters. These are the things that actually, so that like with the wrong strategy, you wouldn't get anywhere. But with the right strategy, or with all the strategy you see online, like paleo, whatever, like all these things are justified. They're simply prepackaged different names telling you eat less calorie. Some of them, take off one thing, take off another thing, but very extreme on you. Very extreme on you, and saying, they hit you mentally saying, if you do not do what we say, this is wrong. Right? If you are in a low carb diet and you hit more in a keto diet more than 30 grams of carbs, you're doing that wrong. So mentally, you are wiring yourself to fail. Right? The invisible force, and that's what I'm saying, like just really set up internal goal is like, okay, no matter what the goal is going to be, like I know it's painful for me to stay 20, 30%, 45%, or whatever the case body weight is. I want to get to 30, right? Because I was different before. Then, if you say that to yourself and you fail, then you're always failing. But then, this is part of the forces. This is part of you having a wrong identity. And then when you get it that good for a week and it doesn't work anymore, then you build up a story that it doesn't work. Number two, identity number one, story number two, environment. If you are surrounded with people such as all of you, telling you, no, keep going, do it, it worked for me, why not for you? This is positive environment. So environment, and of course, the last is really the culture. It's really about finding, ways for you to hardwire your brain, to build up the habits and continue. So to answer the question, to answer kind of like not a question, but a statement you made, I don't know if that's, I mean, there is directly correlation with you getting a bunch of stress on your body and holding a bunch of water, you know, and more you feel stress, more you're going to see worse. But what I feel like it is, you really hardwiring yourself now to do things despite the results, and you see the results showing up, and you see other people results showing up. So that makes you a lot more believable. And of course, giving you that strategy that really matters, and saying you don't need to do super crazy stuff. Both on the workout, you don't need to overwork yourself. On the same way, you don't need to eat nothing. You can eat whatever you want. You know, all of you have lost weight. Some people came in one in muscle here. All people, 400 people in the last year, got to a results with not even know what they eat. So think of that. Like if there was a diet, we wouldn't have 50 to choose from. It's just very simple, the process, like I said. But you need to want to do it on the time that is going to be difficult, on the time that you're not going to have time, on the time that your body's not going to show results because it's adapted. You need to find a way for that. On the times that your friends are going to tell you, no, this doesn't work, try this, that is better, right? Like you need to understand there is no good or bad. It's only like I'm going to go through until I don't see that. If it takes a year, it takes a year. If it takes 2 months, it takes 2 months. If it takes 6 months, it takes 6 months. If I imagine it takes 6 months, I'm going to take a year. It doesn't matter, because being here is worse. Being in the place I am today, feeling bad, feeling not confidence is worse. Okay, this is why this program works better for people like Marissa, for people like stories that we have here, stories that are more difficult than just saying I want to get to my bikini body. Yeah, so this, of course, is the mental part of it. So, ladies, this concludes our roundtable. If you want to say something, Connie, I'm going to have you log in one more time. There is 10 more minutes. This thing is kind of like kicking us out. I'm going to have you log in one more time. Everybody, you can log in if you want. You can still say something if you still want to say something. I'm just going to have you log back in. All right. So in the meantime, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for taking the time. We'll be in touch for the next one. Take care. Bye bye.